Hey everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today is basketball intensity, basketball passion, and those are two things that North Carolina is looking for in the transfer portal. A lot of fans might not be thinking it. They might be thinking three-point shooting, rebounding numbers, all that kind of stuff, and it's fine. I know some are thinking about this, but maybe not everybody, because if you think about the intangibles that are now off the roster, Hubert Davis needs to try to bring as much of that back onto the roster he can through the portal. Armando Bacot gave them a lot of that. Uses eligibility up, he's gone. Cormac Ryan was an absolute juice injection into the program. Very much, he was almost like an electro charge. The program needed it. He gave that to him every time he stepped on the floor. That's one of the reasons this team never got blown out. UConn had a decent lead on them for a while, but they weren't blown out. And that's one of the reasons why this team was always in games. Even when they didn't play well, they were in games, they won games, because they had an extra gear of oomph. They had an extra layer of energy, an extra scale of want that they would go to, because Cormac Ryan oozed it with everything he did. We heard stories about things he'd do in practice, like, damn, this guy is super intense on an October 24th practice. And it sent a message to the guys, and it kind of spread onto them. There was something about it that caught on with some of the other guys. Harrison Ingram was the same way in a lot of ways. I'm going to say he was the juice injection. Ryan was the electro injection. Harrison Ingram was the juice injection. Very passionate, loved the game. Not a ton of smiles on the court from Cormac, a crapload of smiles on the court from Harrison Ingram, but they both came from the same place. And that's why it worked so well. They meshed very, very well together. And they did so without interfering with the rest of the team in an adverse way. What it did was it picked everybody up. It spread onto them. It was contagious. And that's what Hubert needs from the portal. Because if you look at the guys that are back, he's got a lot of energy. So I can see Jalen Withers being a fanny slapper, but he might not be a starter. A little hard to have that role on a regular basis if you're not a starter. He could be a starter. The freshmen are freshmen. So it's unfair to expect them to have that. I'm not sure if that's in Elliot Cadeau's DNA just yet. So we'll wait and see. Jalen Washington is not a rah-rah guy. Doesn't say a whole lot. I talked to him in the locker room, get 15-word answers. Pretty good. I mean, he gives you good answers, but just doesn't seem like a chatty, fiery guy. He sort of plays within himself. Now, RJ plays with a little bit of fire. If RJ comes back, of course, I'm recording this Monday night, so if he's announced it by the time this runs, oh well. But RJ, announced he's coming back, that is. But RJ, if he does return, we give him a little bit of that. But they need to go out and get floor burn guys that will crash into the front row of the stands and hit the richest men, one of the richest men in the state, the largest hog farmer in the world, and the great Wendell Murphy. And Wendell's awesome. So I know Wendell. I've known Wendell for a long time. I can say that. I don't want Carolina fans think I'm sucking up to some NC State guy. I've known Wendell for a long time. Awesome guy. Anyway, it was pretty wild to see Harrison run into him and didn't realize it. But he's crashing in the stands into elderly people to get a ball. That's what he's all about. That's what Hubert needs to bring in. So when Hubert replenishes this roster and rolls that team out on the court sometime this summer when they have some of their summer practices, you need to see some guys with their hair on fire while he's giving them their initial talk. They're standing at midcourt. Hubert's addressing them. Here we go. This is the beginning of the 24-25 Tar Heels. And you need to look and see a couple dudes whose hair is on fire. That's what he also needs from the portal. And it's hard, very hard to get any sense of that without meeting a kid in person, which is why we have refuted a lot of these so-called offers or levels of interest without Hubert being able to see a kid in person. He really wants that. He couldn't a few years ago, and he had the Zoom with Brady Manick. That Brady used to love telling that story, and he said he could feel it through the Zoom call, which was pretty good, but you need to be in person. So I guarantee you, Hubert's antenna is up for guys like that. He wants guys like that. He loves dudes like that. He knows that the electro charge and juice injection they give the team are very, very valuable. They don't show up in stat lines, but they're extremely important. Sometimes as important as having a great shooting percentage versus an average or just above average shooting percentage. Those little things win you games, man. It's not just statistics. It's not just rebounds, just field goal percentage. So much more to the game. And I think Carolina fans they've seen it over the years. You saw it with Theo Pinson as an example, and you saw it this year with Cormac Ryan and Harrison Ingram. So that's one of the things I'm going to look for. And when we get to see the team play at some point next year, early in the season, or in an exhibition game, or maybe even in one of the practices that the media is allowed to watch, I'm going to look for that. I'm going to look for the fanny smacker. I'm going to look for the floor burn guy. I'm going to look for the purposeful screamer. And I say purposeful. There are a lot of dudes that scream that are in situations that doesn't warrant a scream. They're screaming for the sake of screaming. I want a guy like Harrison to scream the way Harrison did. A guy to scream when Cormac did. Those were purposeful screams. And that's what you want. And that's what Hubert would like to add to the roster. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you want screamers and floor burn guys and fanny smackers. Do you want more of those guys, or do you just want to go get all the sharp shooters you can, get a big guy that can rebound and be done with it? You're not really worried about the screaming. You're not really worried about the floor burns. You're not really worried about the guys that can get a team revved up with their passion and their intensity. Let me know what you guys think. Let us know on Facebook. Let us know on Twitter. Let us know on our message board. Remember, you can go over there for just $8.33 a month. You can be a Carolina Insider too. That's for a 1-year subscription, $8.33 a month. I'm AJ, and I'll see you tomorrow.